Welcome to our EMC Weekly Agent Power Hour. Thanks for being here. We're going to be diving into data, market stats, and how to talk about all of this knowledgeably with your buyer and seller clients with Russ Laggan, our amazing guest. Just a little bit about us. I'm Colby, joined as always by my mom, Eva, my brother Dylan's on the call, some of our Every Move Collective family. We run a bi-coastal top producing team out of Westchester, New York, and Connecticut, and Los Angeles. We also run Every Move Collective at EXP, which brings you these weekly calls every Thursday. This is about community learning and networking. Any agent, regardless of company or experience level, is always welcome here. We believe strongly in not competition.
Competition.
We believe strongly in competition. Believe strongly in collaboration. So we're really glad that you're all with us today. If you're able to turn on your cameras, please do that. We would love for you at this time to drop your location in the chat so everyone in the room kind of gets a feel for who's here and where they're tuning in from. And don't be shy, ask questions. Russ is a friendly guy. He'll totally field questions. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat or just raise your hand and we'll make time to answer those questions. We are going to be resuming our weekly marketing and AI segment with our Apex partners next week. Today, we're just going to focus on data and market stats and how to really be knowledgeable about our industry. So I'm very excited to introduce to you Russ. He is one of my favorite leaders at our company. Feel very honored that he said yes to come onto this call and train this group. He has a lot of experience in this industry, and I've not met many people who are as knowledgeable as him about how to really speak about what's going on in real estate. And so I want to let him introduce himself, and then we can dig into the content of today's call.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. And Colby, it's super easy. Like my mantra is say yes to everything that makes sense. All right. Like say yes to things. And by the way, you can live a really cool life like that if you actually say yes to the things that make sense. And keep in mind, you heard that last part, the things that make sense. Like the first part we got to do is get really clear on what your goal is and where you're going and what the direction is. And then once you're really clear on that, if something comes up, it makes it really easy. And like, does this make me head in that direction? If the answer is yes, friggin' hell yeah, let's go, right? If the answer is no, then no, right? The most powerful two letters in the alphabet put together for business is no. Like you say yes to the things that serve you, and yes to the things that move you in the right direction, and say no to the things that don't serve you, and say no to the things that are harming you, and say no to people that are being jerks. Right? He's like, I don't do business with people that are poopy. I just don't. Like, it's just not. I'm like, no, heck no. Like, thanks a bunch. I see your phone ring. It's somebody like, nope, that person. If I look at that phone and I'm like, oh man, I'm not picking it up. I'm not talking to you. Like, you got a choice, guys. Like, control the tech, or the tech controls you, right? But do that with the things that you're doing in life and business. So, let me give you a super fast background, okay? So I started in the real estate business in 2005. I had sold a concrete countertop company that I started from scratch in 1999. Sold that in 2004-5. Got into the real estate business because I knew more about houses than most people. And I thought this will be great. And it looked easy. I was wrong. It wasn't easy, right? And so what happens? My wife's cousin comes into town, and we've got this family gathering going on. So one of the Deanna had a graduation party, and my wife's cousins come up from the south, and it's Rob and his wife Kim, and we get to talking and chatting, and he's like, "Hey, man, I heard you got licensed as a real estate agent." I'm like, "Yeah, I got about like 4 months, you know." And so we talked and chatted back and forth, and he basically says to me, "Man, like the market here is getting hurt." I didn't realize what was going on in Detroit at the time. The market was getting smoked in Detroit in 2005. And he says, Ross, what you got to do is you got to move down to Tampa. Tampa's killing it. An idiot can make 100 grand a year in Tampa. And I'm like, I put my hand up. I'm like, I'm the biggest idiot I know. Let's go. Right. So I ended up moving down to Tampa, Florida. So I got to learn how to build a business, knowing zero people in a market getting completely decimated. Right. It was crazy, weeping and gnashing of teeth. So by like January of 2008, January 2008, we have 13,000 realtors in the association I was in, and they had 800 closings for the whole month of January. And guess what? February was the same. So you had less than a 1 in 13 chance of actually having a closing in 2 months back to back. And it was carnage for a long time. So I got to learn to do some crazy things, and I got to learn some things that worked, and I got to learn some things that didn't work. Middle of 2007, backing up, uh, I ended up winning the award for the top agent in my office for July of 2007. Yeah, right. Aren't you guys proud of me? I had like this little certificate, and I go home and I show my wife this little certificate, top agent, July, Prudential Tropical Realty, Wesley Chapel office. And my wife, she swears she didn't say this, swears she wasn't thinking this, but I was reading her mind at the time. And basically she said, like, if you're the number one agent, what the hell is everybody else making? Because we're broke. It was, guys, it was bad. Like, I had 2 closings and they were slightly higher price point than the next closest agent. We had 70 agents in the office, right? There's like 14 sales for the whole month for the whole office. So it was one of those times where you've got choices, right? You can either put your head down and find a way to drive through this, or you can just cave in and give up and go do something else. And there's a lot of real estate agents that feel like that now because we've had a challenging market over the last couple of years. So what I want to do is I want to get into some of the things that make this market what it is. And then I want to get into some of the things that help you understand where you are in this market. And then I want to also get into some of the things that help you be able to communicate where we are in this market on a regular basis. So how many of you guys would like to actually set up a scenario where when somebody asks you the question, you actually have the answer that actually works? How many of you guys would like to actually have the ability when somebody says that question to be able to make yourself look like an expert and sound like an expert versus looking and sounding like a panhandler, which is how most people get taught how to do this real estate business? Yeah, yeah. Do you want to be an expert, or do you want to sound like a panhandler? Right? All right. So, guys, as we go through this is full throttle, full contact. This is real people stuff, right? If I say something and you're like, "Whoa, back the truck up, dude," throw your hand up, right? Throw your hand up and let's engage. Okay. This can be a two-way conversation. You guys are part of this conversation. Okay. So one disclaimer: my experience is my experience. Your experience is your experience. And the things that I see and have done are from my perspective and the things I've seen and done. You may have a slightly different experience. In the market you are in right now, you might be like, well, Russ, that's not like that here. Okay, cool, good, right? The key is at the end of this, I want you to have a real firm understanding of where you are, where your market is, and the right questions to ask, and the right way to communicate this information so that people start to look at you as their expert. And over time, what'll happen is I want people to start coming to you instead of you having to chase them. How many of you guys like chasing real estate? Yeah, nobody? Okay. How many of you would like real estate to come to you more often? You get the call. Yeah. That person 10 years ago, I met this person 10 years ago. He calls me last week. He's like, Russ, hey, I met you 10 years ago. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, how the heck did you know where to find me? I gave him my phone number 10 years ago. The guy reached out to me. He's like, you're the guy I need for this. I'm like, holy crap, right? Part of the things we're doing is making sure we're in the right perspective, right? Some people are out there actually building a business and driving a business that gets them closings from social media. Other people, most of us, are using social media and should be using social media. So it gives people a portal so that they can remember who somebody is and just kind of help you stay top of mind. That helps build that relationship. So guys, this is a relationship business. So let me run you a couple numbers and then I'll drop straight into some market data. Okay. Do you guys know what a normal year of sales is? What is a normal year? For how many millions of homes are sold in a normal year nationally? Do you guys know what that number is?
Well, normal now or normal what it used to be?
Normal over the last 30 years on average, what should it be if it's normal?
I
Anthony's saying 3, but I think
three.
maybe like 5 million, six
I think you
million.
mean 3 million, right?
All right. How many of you guys can see my whiteboard? Can you see this okay?
Yeah, I
Yep.
could spotlight you too.
All right. 5.3. There you go. 5.3 million. That's a normal year. Okay. So, okay, great, Russ. Well, what the heck does that mean? So, guys, here's a lesson to learn, right? When you talk about a market or talk about a market stat, I don't want you to just say a number. We've got 5.3 million sales in the last year. You say the number, you say whatever it is, you say the statistic, and then you tell them what it means. So let me give you an example. So 5.3 million sales is a normal year nationally, right? When we were coming out of COVID, we were bumping into the sixes, in the mid to high sixes. Okay, like you go 2022, numbers way off the chart, and you jump into 2023, number dropped way down. So we've had 4 years of 4.06, 4.09, 4.06. Right around, let's just say plus or minus, right around 4. Okay, so here's the root of some of the feeling nationally is that in a normal year, you've got 5.3 million sales that happen, and we've been for the last 4 years right at 4. This year, by the way, guys, we're tracking to be right at 4, which means this year's gonna be just like last year, which is just like the year before and just like the year before. So there's been people sitting on the sidelines and like, oh, Russ, don't worry about it, man. Like, I'll wait because the real estate market changes all the time. I'll just wait it out. Like, no, guys, like this is your new reality right now. And by the way, this year is going to be just like last year. And by the way, barring something substantially changing for a bunch of reasons, I believe next year maybe up a little bit more, but it's probably going to be very similar to this year. It might be 4.1, it might hit up to 4.2, but that's still way below normal. And you might say, well, Russ, that's not that big of a deal. Here's where the big deal comes in, guys. 5.3 million home sales. How many of your deals are double-sided? A couple here and there, right? Which means you've got 5.3 million sales is 10.6 million checks. Okay, so if you're down 1.3 million sales, that's not just down 1.3 million sales, that's down 1.3 million sales times 2 sides on most transactions. So let's just say 2.6 million less paychecks going to real estate agents. Let's say conservatives, probably more like 2.5, 2.4, because some deals do get double-sided. That's 2.5 million less checks going into real estate agents' pockets, which means 2.5 million less checks that are split with brokerages. So you're looking at a market versus normal that's been down 22% or so, 22% or so, 22% or so year over year over year. So let's be clear, guys. Here's your metric, Joseph. How are you doing? Are you down 22% year over year from normal year?
What?
Yeah,
I'm down more. I'm down more.
Okay. Okay. So Joseph, you're down more. So here's the fun part. That means we need to make some adjustments. Okay. If you're down less than 22 or 23%, I've had people say this to me all the time. And by the way, mindset is everything in this type of market. I've had people say to me, well, Russ, like my business is completely stagnant. It didn't grow at all. I'm like, in a market that's down 22% below a normal year, if you're even, you're beating the market by 22%. Okay, so you're not down as far as you think. You're down consistent with the market plus a little bit, Joseph. So let's do a couple things that help smooth that out and straighten that out. Okay, so first things first is understanding, guys, the playing field is the playing field is the playing field. I used to race triathlons a bunch before I had both my hips replaced. And when I was doing that, we'd have people come in and they're like, well, man, it was so tough. And the winds out there were so tough. And the course was this and it was hip. I'm like, guys, we all raced on the same course with the same wind, with the same water, with the same hills, right? That's the cool part about that. We all ran the same track. We all rolled the same course. So were you trained to be able to run in that? No. Okay, good. Well, that was the thing. It's like you haven't been training in the wind. You haven't been doing strength training for hills. That's the problem, right? So instead of blaming the hills and blaming the wind, I got to say, okay, what do I need to do and what do I need to adjust, right? So right now, we've all got a little bit of a headwind. It's a tougher market to do business in, okay? And we've got a lot of other challenges that are going on, a lot of consolidation in the real estate business. Okay, so with that being said, it's important to know we're on track for very similar to last year, and next year is going to be very similar to this year, which means if you're still stuck, you got to make some minor adjustments, okay? So here's one of the fun parts, guys. Do you know what the average age of a first-time home buyer is right now?
Hi, 41 maybe?
Average age of a first-time home buyer right now is 40.
40.
It's been like that for about a year or two, right? And you might say, well, why is that, Russ? Okay, you see this lower number here? This lower number, a lot of that is first-time home buyers because they got priced out of a lot of these markets. So they've been sitting on the sidelines. If you take house prices going up substantially, really strong for 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, and then you add to that the bump in the interest rate, and the interest rate going up, that house that was going up $30,000, $40,000 a year, in addition to the interest rate going up, doubling plus, made it so that the actual dollars out of pocket became untenable. So what happens is I've got a $1.3 million debt of homes this year, 1.3 million this year, 1.3 million less this year, 1.3 million this year, which means I'm 5.2 million people sitting on the sidelines over the last couple of years, which means the younger people aren't buying houses as often as easy. By the way, young people are not getting married as early as they used to. They're not getting married in their 20s anymore, early 20s and mid 20s anymore. That's pushing back and pushing back and pushing back. Okay, so a lot of things factor into the actual market saying, like, we've got pent up demand now of $5.2 million. So what happens in some of these markets where the housing stock actually has been sitting stagnant, some of these prices drop in some of these markets a little bit, and some of these people pop out of the woodwork and they're like, wow, prices came down a little bit. Boom, I better jump in. Do you know when the best time to buy a house is? When's the best time to buy a house?
Yeah.
When?
When you can afford it.
Yeah, okay. Maybe. Maybe. When's the best time to buy a house? 20 years ago. When's the second best time?
Now.
Now, right? So when we're talking about market and talking about statistics, depending on what market you're in, and I know you guys are all over the country, I'm in the Midwest. The Midwest is not seeing what they're seeing on some of the other markets. Southern Florida, their prices went way up and they're getting pulled back a little bit. We are not that way here. So knowing what your market stats are for your current market is super important, because there's a ton of noise out there talking about stories that are going like, everything's down, everything's down, everything's down. But what that means, everything's down, means some of these people eventually are going to have to come out of the woodwork. So if prices dropped or interest rates dropped, buyers are going to pop out of the woodwork and snap up all the other inventory. And then what happens? Prices go up again. Right? So we're in a situation where we've built a scenario, and there's a scenario going on where, like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, things are starting to stabilize. Yeah, things are starting to flatten out in some markets. But in many markets, those markets went up and they came back down a little bit. And then buyers are popping out of the market like, I better get a deal while I can. Right? And a lot of you guys are saying, well, okay, Russ, well, I know you guys always say now is the best time to buy a house. It's not always the best time to buy a house. If you're 12 years old, not a good time to buy a house. If you're 18, probably not the best time to buy a house. But when you get into your 20s and 30s, I have these people that say to me all the time, well, Russ, the market sucks. Okay, great. So when do you buy a stock? Do you buy a stock when it's raging? Do you buy gold when it's at $5,200 an ounce? Do you buy silver when it's $120 an ounce, or you buy it when it drops down to 50, right? So we've got to start thinking through the game. So what is the issue that's stopping you? So when we talk to people, it's like, what is stopping you? So Joseph, some of your buyers are like, well, Joseph, the interest rate's really high. Okay, great. So what are you doing right now? Well, I'm renting. Okay, great. So you're worried about the interest rate being 7%? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What is your interest rate right now? And they go, well, I don't have an interest rate. Yes, you do. Your interest rate is 100%. So when you're talking to a buyer who's renting, it's the easiest conversation in the world, because 100% of the dollars that he's spending or she's spending is going towards paying the rent. None of it goes to principal. None of it comes back. At the end of 5 or 6 years of renting, you go to the landlord and you're like, hey, I've been here for 5 years. Like, okay, give me my equity check so I can move on. The landlord's like, are you drunk? Like, that's not the way this works. Every dollar you give me, I get to keep. The interest rate is 100%. Right? So when we're comparing apples to apples, if they can set up a scenario where they can buy a house and have a comparable number, it's almost always to their advantage, if they're going to be there for a while, to actually buy a house. If you're only going to be there for a year or two, probably not the best idea. If you're going to be there a year or two, any number of things can happen where it makes it harder for you to get back out of there. So, but if you're thinking, I'm going to be somewhere for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, buying is almost always a better run long term. So here's the deal. When we're talking about market and we're talking to people about market, if you've got somebody that's renting right now, you just got to run the math with them, right? So Joseph, what is your interest? What is your typical rent in your market there?
It's in the single family homes. Let's just say someone's renting and they have a stable jobs and everything. They're probably paying around $4,500 to $5,000.
Okay. I'm gonna use five grand. Are you okay with that?
Yes,
You know why?
it's easier.
I can multiply by 5 grand easier. 5 grand, okay? So they're paying 5 grand a month, $60,000 a year. Okay. So what is their fear? Their fear is the first time home buyer. They've never owned a house before. It's a little bit scary, right? And they're like, well, I'm paying my rent. It's good. It's secure. It's awesome. Great. But like, what's the fear? The fear is they buy a house for what? 800,000?
My mark, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just guessing. Okay. That's why I have you guys to help me guide this story so it's accurate, right? So $800,000. So like, what if you bought an 800? So let me ask you this, Joseph. If you bought an $800,000 house and the house price went down, it went down $30,000 in the next year. Is that a problem?
No, because I'm still paying that wonderful.
That's not what buyers are thinking. Buyers are thinking, well, if I buy a house and it goes down $30,000, I just lost $30,000. Like, yeah, but you're throwing away guaranteed 60.
Yeah.
If you buy a house and it goes down less than 50, including some repair costs and normal maintenance related stuff, if it goes down less than 50 every year for the next 20 years, you're still ahead. Do you see why if somebody's renting right now from a long-term standpoint, it's almost always a great time to do it? Do you think there's a chance where this $800,000 house is going to go down $50,000 every year?
No chance.
Well, no chance, because look, your $800,000 house divided by 50 is what? 16? So at the 16-year mark, the house is worth 0, right? So it can't go down another 50 because it's worth 0. This can keep getting hit every single freaking year till the day you die. So when you're thinking long term, a lot of people are thinking, well, short term, yeah, problem. Long term, problem solved, right? So as we go into the market, we start talking about what the market's actually doing. If you have ways of helping people think through this stuff, listen, I'm not trying to convince you to buy a house. I'm just simply saying that a lot of times the people that have a fear, I bought an $800,000, what if it goes down? Okay, what if it goes down for 2 years? Okay, it's worth $100,000 less. Cool. You just coughed up 120 over the last 2 years, guaranteed. What if it stays even, doesn't go up $1, which some of the markets are doing, right? My market's still going up like 4% currently. It's down to 4% appreciation right now. Okay, so when we're looking at ours, like even if it only goes up 1 or 2%, you're still ahead of throwing away $60,000 guaranteed. So being able to confidently have this conversation with people and help them sort through what their fear is and be able to sort through what their market is doing and sort through what their actual scenario is, it's super, super powerful in getting people off the fence. Yes, sir.
Russ, talk to us a little bit about population growth. How do you use population growth into an area, city, to really help you solidify what you just showed us?
Yeah. Okay. So let's just say high level hypothetical, and you're going to want to put some numbers to this. And by the way, I don't know if you guys are using these large language models, Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, right? Pick your flavor. I don't care which one it is. All of them have the ability. And by the way, only the people that are playing at the top level understand what the tiny little nuances are. So don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Grab the one that you know how to use, learn how to use it, ask it how to use it. By the way, I wish I could go down to my table saw in my wood shop and be like, hey, table saw, can you tell me how to do this cut so I don't take my fingers off and I get the best results? My table saw is like, nah, right? But this is a tool that you can use. You can actually ask it how to use it and it'll tell you how to use it, right? So go into your large language model and just talk to it like you're talking to a human, Joseph. So I'm gonna go into my large language model and hit my button and be like, hey there, I'm trying to figure out what the population in my local market I am in. So I'll just say Detroit metro market for me, right? I'm actually between Detroit and Ann Arbor. So Detroit metro market, excluding Detroit proper, because that's a different planet from where I am, okay? So excluding that, I would like you to tell me what the population numbers are and what they're projected to be over the next couple of years, and people in and people out. Are we going up or down in people population? And if we are going up in people population, can you give me a rough idea of what the housing stock looks like? And do we have enough building and new housing coming in to be able to actually offset that growth? So basic 101, Joseph, is if people are leaving your market, are you going to have more houses or less houses available?
More.
Yeah. If people are coming into your market, unless they're building ridiculously fast or faster than how many people are moving in, what's going to happen to the housing stock?
Go down.
Right. So here's the thing, Joseph. Most of the time when we're going into these conversations and we're having conversations with these people, you got to keep it simple like that. And I want to ask the question so that they understand, and then they can demonstrate to me they understand. If I just lecture at them, it's not going to sink in. But if I ask them the question, okay, if people are leaving a city, they're leaving a market, and they're not bulldozing their house on the way, they're like, you know what? I'm leaving. Bulldoze the house, take the dirt, and leave. If they don't take their house and dirt and leave, there's going to be a house and a piece of dirt that's vacant, right? And then somebody has to come in and fill that. If there's more people leaving than coming in, you're going to have a housing stock surplus. Make sense? Now, what happens if more people are coming in? You have less housing surplus, which drives prices up. Yes? So let me ask you this. Do you know what our population in our market is doing?
In my market or
Sure.
nationally?
Well, this is the question. I'm asking you like you're the client,
Okay.
right? Okay. So do you know, is your population in your market going up or going down?
It's going up around 8%.
What market are you in?
City of Orange.
City of Orange,
In
California?
Yeah.
Hey, Gemini, in the city of Orange, California, what is the population growth expected to be for 2026? What was it in 2025? And what would you project it to be in 2027 if all things stay reasonably similar? Okay. Gemini. Guys, by the way, I am tech slow. I use a whiteboard and a marker and stick figures. And I have a wood shop and a forge. I don't use my computer unless I absolutely have to. It's not something I enjoy. However, what I have learned is guys, you always want to double check the info. Okay. So I could take that answer and drop it into another large language model if I want, or I could just double check it in Google. Once you get like my Gemini for Detroit metro market, excluding Detroit proper, is literally spot on because it's pulling the data straight out of my MLS. Okay. So once you understand what it's doing, where it's pulling, and verify, the first time, verify that the info is correct and it has the ability to pull statistical information for your market, then don't worry about it. Let it go. Don't just trust everything it says. Trust but verify until you can trust it. And then once you know you can trust it, then trust it. Okay. So I did my market stats a couple of times, double checked them with my MLS, double checked them with some math. And I was like, dude, this thing is spot on. It's pulling exactly what I'm asking it to pull. So that's pretty cool. So according to the recent Census Bureau, 2025 total estimated population is 138,365. 2026 is 138,365, 138,790. Projected for next year is 139,200. So you guys are going up 400 or 500 plus people per year. Okay. Which means your housing stock, if they're not building enough to handle, let's say half of those people, because you're gonna have some married couples and you're gonna have some kids and so forth. Let's say a third. So I'll take 800 or so additional people over the next year. If they're not building an additional 200 plus new homes in that market, then you're going to have less housing. Okay, so let's ask question number 2. All right, so what is the building permits pulled for that exact same cross section for this year? How many homes do they expect and places to live do they expect to build in the next year in that market? So where before, guys, you had to go freaking crazy chasing this info around, is all at your fingertips now. This is a time saver because it helps you be able to have actual factual data. And by the way, once you know that the types of questions you're asking are accurate in your market, you can just pull your phone out in front of your clients and be like, well, let's ask. Like, here's the actual data. And you can ask it, where did you pull the data from? I do not want, if you don't know the answer, don't make up an answer. If you don't know an answer, tell me. You can't find a reliable source for the information. Okay, make sure it's verified. Permits pulled, roughly 200 to 350 new residential permits are pulled per year in that particular market. forecasts are expecting to add around 300 to 400 places to live. So your market right now, while you're going to get 800 or so plus people in the next year, they've got 300 or so houses being built, which is probably a pretty good ratio, right? Because 800 people are going to be some husbands' wives, some husbands' husbands, some wives' wives, all the other mixes that go along with it, right? And then throw in some kids in that thing. So, a third was probably a good number. So your market's going to probably stay pretty balanced in the next year, Joseph.
Okay.
Is that a weird way to do it? But I'm glad you asked that question because I've never done that one live. So that was kind of cool. So thank you for that. All right. Okay. So what are some of the pieces of information we need to know? Let's go backwards. Are you guys ready for this? Some of you guys might want to pick your toes up off the floor. I'm going to smush some feet here in a second. I'm going to smush a toe or six. Okay. When you guys go out and about and you talk to somebody, and they're nice and friendly, and you have a communication, you have some fun with them, and they go, and then you're like, "Hey, Joseph, what do you do for a living?" And Joseph's like, "Blah blah 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 blah," does whatever, right? And then Joseph says back to me because I asked him, right? Or before I even ask him, he'll ask me. It's like, "Hey, man, what are you dressed up like that for? What do you do for a living?" People ask me that all the time, right? What do you do for a living? And then I say some version of, "Yeah, I'm a real estate agent," right? Joseph, you do the same thing. You're like, "What do you do for a living?" You're like, "I'm a realtor," right? And then what's the next question out of their pie hole every time? Some variation of?
What's the market like?
How's the market, right? Guys, they don't ever ask anything else. It's almost always, how's the market? It's like when you walk into a store and there's a clerk standing there and they're like, "Hi, sir, welcome to blah, blah, blah. Can I help you find something today?" And you're like, "Nah, just looking." This is the "nah, just looking" of real estate, right? Every business has some version of that. So this is how's the market? Well, so here's the rub, guys. We get that question all the time, and we are horrible as an industry. We're horrible at answering it. Let me give you a couple of examples. Colby. Here we go. Okay. Has any of you guys been taught to have an elevator pitch? Yeah, that's kind of, they've gotten away from it a little bit, but I was in a seminar the other day, earlier this year, right? I was in a seminar and the guy's up there was like, "You gotta have a good elevator pitch." And he went on to, I was like, "Good Lord." Like, "Hey, Eva, when you do your elevator pitch, has anybody ever looked at you and said, 'Oh my gosh, Eva, tell me more'?" Ever?
No, because I'm leaving the elevator by then.
Get out of this elevator, right? Joseph, has anybody ever, like, after they ask you how's the market, you give your blah, whatever, on their shoes, and they go, "Joseph, tell me more." Has that ever happened?
No.
Because what we've been taught sucks, okay? Our whole industry has been taught to do something that sucks. And I don't mean sucks a little bit. I mean sucks all the time. Hoover vacuum style. Just every time you turn it on, it sucks, okay? So here's the deal. It's true, right?
Yeah.
Like, then you get people like, "Well, you got to have a good elevator pitch, right?" Like, "Well, my job as a real estate agent is to help sellers get top dollar for the house to help buyers get the home of their dreams. Are you thinking about buying or selling in the near future?" And they're like, "Well, you gotta have a call to action at the end, Russ." "Oh, hey, by the way, here's a pile of dog shit. This is super tasty. Would you like a bite?" And they're like, "That's dog shit. You just told me it was dog shit. And then you asked me if I want to take a bite. The answer is no every time. I don't want to take a bite of that. You just told me it's dog shit." Okay. So our response is crap. And then we want them to engage with us more. And I'm going like, "Guys, stop teaching this," right? And then those super great ones are like, "Well, Russ, we've studied NLP." Neural linguistic programming, which basically can be used for good or evil, by the way. A lot of people teach techniques that are using it for evil. So if you use it for evil, not actually sacrificing babies or puppies or anything, using it for evil is like using it to do manipulation, okay? To help people connect in a way that helps them understand more is good. To make them make connections because you dupe them into making the connection that they didn't want to make in the first place, that's called manipulation. Okay, so some people are teaching techniques to manipulate people. And then the good one is like, "Well, Russ, we understand. It's not to get them to buy or sell a house with you right now. It's to get their personal info." Okay. Cool. Okay, cool. So let's just ignore how humans work and we'll keep driving at stuff that doesn't work like a human works. So let me ask you this. When you get into a conversation with somebody and they're trying, and you figure out right out of the gate, they're trying to get something from you. Oh yeah, and by the way, do real estate agents have a good reputation across the
No.
industry? Right? Like they're always trying to get something from me. Yeah, because what are we doing? We're always trying to get something from them, right? So we're like, I'm not trying to get a sale. I'm just trying to get their info, right? So we approach the relationship. They ask me a question, and then I try to get something from them. What do? Do they go, you got me, and they give me their stuff? Joseph, after you did your blah, blah on their feet, and they didn't say, tell me more, did they ever go, oh, let me give you my personal info? Have they ever done that?
No, I've been referred a couple of times, but yeah,
Sure.
nothing
Yeah, but
constant.
in initial interactions and interactions with people as a real estate agent, when they ask how's the market, typically you say bleh, and then we're trying to get their info, and it's not natural. It gets weird, it gets awkward, it gets strange. Are there times when it happens? Yeah. Are there times when your blind squirrel trips over a nut? Absolutely. It does happen if you're out there enough. But in general, when we do this interaction, we typically scare people off. We don't attract them to us, right? So guys, would you like to know how to answer that question correctly? And you're like, well, of course, Russ, you think your way is correct. You guys tell me. Okay. You ask me, how's the market? Joseph, ask me, how's the market?
How's the market, Russ?
You know what, Joseph? I just did a market update last week that tells people what's going on in the market. Do you want me to send it to you?
Yeah, here's my email.
Oh, somebody's taking over our Zoom. Is that me too, or is that just you guys?
We're not hearing anything. I'm not anyway.
I don't hear
No,
anything.
it's so. Oh, you mean someone just put something in the chat?
Yeah, no. I've got I've got Claude. I've got Claude doing something on my. Let me just quit that. There you go. What in the world is this thing doing? I don't know what this thing's doing. There you
I
go.
had my phone
AI
talking.
has a mind of its own.
Hey,
Yeah.
by the way, guys, I'm nervous. I just launched Skynet 2 weeks ago. So
What's Skynet? Never mind.
Who said
Tell
that?
you, but then
Who said that?
Rima?
Rima. How old are you, Rima? I'm gonna guess sub 32, 33.
Oh, you're such a sweetheart. No.
Oh, so you're older and you just don't pay attention to things going on around you. I'm kidding. Joking. Okay. Ha ha ha.
that would be
Sky-
me, Rima. Okay, I'm right with you.
Skynet
yeah,
was the thing that got out of control and started the Terminator movies.
Oh, that explains why I don't. Yeah, that's not my genre.
Okay, cool. So you guys want a weird?
You were watching Terminator. I was busy watching Pretty in Pink in the Breakfast Club.
Well, hang on a second. I watched Pretty in Pink in the Breakfast Club too. So don't. And by the way, yes, I am.
You are Pretty in Pink.
Thank you.
Look at that tie.
This is, guys, what I love about doing training like this is human being business. You guys are human beings. We're human beings, right? So thank you for letting me play with you like a human being instead of just lecture at you guys like you're a bunch of robots, right? Okay, so Terminator stuff got out of control. Yeah, got out of control, right? So my Claude just went out of control. By the way, random piece of information. In the Terminator movie soundtracks, the bass lines, the bass guitar instrument bass lines that were played in the Terminator soundtracks were played on a bass guitar that I built.
Really?
Wow.
How freaking weird is that? Yeah. So that's been a hobby of mine.
It's pretty cool.
Okay. So let's go back. Joseph, you asked me, how's the market? And my response was, hey, I just did a market update. You want me to send it to you?
Sure.
Great. Where would you like me to send it?
Best on my email.
Okay, cool. Did you guys see what just happened there? He asked me, how's the market? I just offered to give him what he asked for. He said yes. He's a real estate. He said yes. And I was like, where do you want me to send it? And he gave me his info. Did that feel weird and awkward at all? Joseph, did that feel weird and awkward at all?
No, it did not.
Does that sound like that's exactly how it would probably go? If I did that, that's probably exactly how it would go almost every time.
I think
Yeah,
so.
I mean, worst case scenario, they say, I'm good.
Yeah, you know what? Cool, right? That's not my tribe. That's not my vibe, right? People like they don't like dudes in vest, shirts, ties, cool shoes, and hair sticking straight up. Like if you're not my tribe, fine, cool. Like listen, my ladies, you're not gonna fix me. Just ask my wife.
You're
32 years
perfect just the way you are.
No, I'm not. I'm messed up, exactly like me. And that's what you get. Okay, so you're not gonna fix them. So most of the people, when they ask you that question, you go, well, you know what? I just did an update. You want me to send it to you? And they're like, yeah, that'll work. Great. Where do you want me to send it? So here's the deal. If you're thinking about buying or selling, or you have a house, think about it like this. If you had a stock, Eva, that was $800,000, would you check on it once in a while? Yeah, so what I'm going to do
Once
is
in a while.
I'll drop this thing out to you. I post this on social media. I drop this out in the market, and I drop it to you in email. It'll be in your email box, inbox every single month. And listen, like I know you don't need to see it every single month, but I don't know what month you're going to want to see it or need to see it. So I'll just make sure it's in your inbox every month. And when you start getting curious and you're like, oh, you know, I haven't looked at this in a while, pop it open, take a look at it. But it'll always be there for you. Now, when you're sending this email, Joseph, they don't go, oh, this Russ guy still trying to panhandle me, which is the way most people feel that we are as real estate agents, as panhandlers, right? So instead, it's like, I'm going to add value every single month. I don't know when you're going to need it. You might not need to know what's going on in the market for another 2 years. Cool, but it'll be there for you when you need it. Good. Now, when they see that email, they delete that email instead of saying, stupid Joseph just trying to sell me a house, right? He's just trying to make me sell my house. They're like, oh, delete. Joseph's doing what he said he'd do, which is make sure it's always there for me. I don't need it this week. Cool. But they don't take it as a sales pitch. See, if we're emailing them every single month and they don't know why, they think we're trying to sales pitch them. Versus, hey, I'm just adding value. Don't know when you're going to need it. You might want to check on it once or twice a year, just so you know what's going on in the market. Sound good? It'll be in your inbox every month, ready for you. Most of the time, you're just going to delete it and keep on moving on. But when you do get curious, it'll be there for you. Good? And the person on the other side of the deal is like, I really like this guy. Thank you for that. Because it acknowledges the fact that they don't need it every month. It acknowledges the fact that it's always going to be there. And then it also helps me with credibility because I told them I'm going to do it and I do it every month. And they're like, wow, this guy does what he said he's going to do. So the number one interaction we have in the real estate market, in the real estate business, is somebody asking us, how's the market? And then we need to get really good at answering that question. And we need to get really good at giving them a little nugget and then see if they want more. If you give them a little nugget and they want more, you give them more, right? If you guys said to me, oh my gosh, Russ, what do you mean? What are you talking about? You build bass guitars? If you'd said that, I would have been like, well, yeah, actually, I've got one on the wall there and one on the wall there. I got one behind me here. Would you like to see one? And you're like, yes, I would. Only then am I going to pull out my bass guitar and show you a bass guitar I built. Okay. It's
Yes, I would.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Hang on. Check this out.
Wow. That's pretty. Ooh, I
That
like
is
that.
very cool.
That's
My
beautiful.
husband would
Crazy.
love to see that.
This is handmade custom electric guitar. Actually, I just finished this one about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And I've got the first
is
bass I
so
ever
cool.
built is hanging on the wall behind it. So yeah,
What kind
I've
of
got
wood are you using?
all of them. There's
Let's have a Zoom on that one day.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
yeah. We do it from my workshop. Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just don't operate the table saw without asking for instructions first.
Exactly. How would you like me to touch you today? Wait a minute, that's inappropriate.
Oh
So
my God.
back to the subject,
But
guy.
Russ, can I just say something? This whole little skit that you used just now, I think is also really a good way to check in with people that you haven't talked to in a while. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
You
no,
know, a
this
lot
is
of instead of just saying, hey, I just wanted to check in or pretending like I was just in their neighborhood, this is something that could be really valuable
yes.
to approach somebody with that you haven't
Yes.
spoken to in a while.
Hey, everybody in my sphere of influence, everybody that's in my database, everybody I touch on a regular basis, one time a year, I like to touch base with them and make sure they know what's going on in the market because there's a lot of misinformation out there. So do you have any idea what's going on in the real estate market right now? They're like, no. Do you care? No. Okay, don't worry about it then. If they're like, yeah, hey, wait, what is going on in the market? Say, hey, by the way, the market this year is almost identical to last year. And particularly in our market here, within 5 mile radius of where we're standing right now, we're actually at a 1.9 month supply of homes, which means it's down from 2.3 last year. So when you're hearing stuff and seeing stuff on social media, oh my God, the sky is falling, house prices are collapsing. Not here. House prices have slowed down in appreciation. They're not going up 10 and 11, 12% a year like they were, but they're still at 3 and 4. By the way, you don't want them to be 15 and 20 every year because it just prices everybody out of the market. So 3 and 4 is perfect. Like that's a perfect amount of appreciation. Okay, so I like that a bunch. So that's where the market is. So if you're thinking about buying right now, because of the way the market is, there's almost no risk of having the market go down here because we still have low supply, we still have solid demand. And if interest rates drop, that demand is going to jump, which is going to make the supply drop down even lower again, which means we're going to be in the same boat next year that we are now. So let me ask you this. If a property is going up 5% a year in my market here, $300,000 property plus or minus 350s average in this area, $300,000 property, if it goes up only 5% in a year, that's 15 grand. So are you cool with paying 15,000 more for the same exact house the same time next year? 2 years from now, it's 30. So by the way, if you're not saving like $1,100, $1,200 a month, you're actually going behind. It's becoming harder to afford a house. Does that make sense? And then people go, oh my gosh, it does make sense. Oh, wait a minute. So if there was a way you could do something now, would you? By the way, sellers are in the same boat. We've got a lot of sellers that have been sitting on the sideline. The reason these numbers are as low as they are is because the older generation is living longer and healthier. Good, great for them. The boomers aren't dumping their houses like they used to. Part of the reason the boomers aren't dumping their houses like they used to is because now if they're going to downsize, if an older person is going to downsize, they downsize to a smaller house, get into a new place, and the cost per month is the same. They don't downsize because they want a smaller house. They downsize because they want to kill off the payments and the cost and so forth. If they can stay in the same house and not have the costs go through the roof, they'll probably do that. Oh, wait a minute. They are doing that. Because for them to move, they'll go to a smaller house that costs a lot more dollars and their interest rate goes through the roof if they borrow money. So it makes it untenable for some of them. That's why the supply has been sitting at all-time lows and is staying low in a bunch of markets. The markets that overinflated fast are the ones that are taking the hits. The markets that have been slow and steady Eddie, that didn't do the 15 and 17 and 18% appreciation a year, those markets are pretty flat. They've been flat for a while. It's pretty cool, huh? So you need to know a couple of pieces of information in your market. Okay, Colby, do you have a way to tell who's on this video today?
Yes.
Do you have does it have a list? Okay, you got a registration list or something? Okay, good. Because let me ask you guys something. If I had a video on how to do a good market update, would you like to see that? Hey, can I teach you guys something about sales? If you have something that people want, they'll want it. There's ways like, how's the market? Oh, I got something that tells you what's going on in the market. You want it? Uh-huh. Most of the time, right? Same thing. So I've got a market update. So Colby, what I'll do is I'll connect with you guys and I'll get you the video on how to do a market update and all the rest of the parts and pieces. I'll give you a high level right now. You can send it out to these guys as an additional value piece so that they can actually watch through it. I can spend an hour just on this, okay? So for me, there's a couple key pieces of information that I need. And then, okay, there's a couple pieces that I like to see, and I need to know these numbers, and you should have these numbers, pull these numbers, particularly if you can use one of your LLMs, right? So I can jump in, hey, Gemini, I need to know the total number of listings that are on the market in this cross-section of the market currently, last year, and 5 years ago. I also need to know the number of properties that sold in the last 30 days in this market, last year and 5 years ago. And I'd also like to know what the median sales price is of the properties that sold this year, last year, and 5 years ago. With those three pieces of information, if I know the total number of listings and the total number of solds, that'll tell me what my month supply, what is my month supply of homes, right? Okay, month supply is simple. Normal market, it's around 5 or 6, right? If it starts going 7, 8, 9, 10, that turns into a buyer's market. If it drops below 5, that's a seller's market. So in my market right now, I believe we're going to kick down to like 1.8 month supply again in the next month. Last month, it was trending down fast because the buyer market in Michigan is hot. Because by the way, it snows in the winter and the weather sucks here a lot. like New York. Okay. So we get a lot more sales in the summer. So that bumps up. So the supply of homes right now, total number of listings available, and then the total number of solds. If I take how many listings are available and then how many sold in the last 30 days, just divide listings by sold, it tells me how many months I got. So if no other homes come on the market, here's how many months it'll take to have 0 houses. So let's just do big fat round numbers. Okay. I've got 5,000 listings in my immediate local metro market, 5,000 homes available for sale. And last month, there was 2,500 closings. 2-month supply, right? So if next month we sell 2,500 more, if nothing comes on the market, there's nothing left, right? So you got 2 months supply of homes. It's important to know that, because when you know that, that tells you which way the numbers are going to trend. So when I say to you, this number is going to probably stay fairly similar. And by the way, in my market, next year is going to be pretty much like this year. Knowing that supply number in my market has been, well, down as low as 0.7, by the way. 2022 is 0.7. By the way, in 2017, it was 0.7. When I bought this house, it was a 0.7 month supply of homes, which means if you go into that market, you're paying full price, you're paying over full price, and there's 20 offers on every house, okay? That's the market that I bought this house in, okay? So with that said, understanding when you're working with a buyer, you're like, listen, we are at a 2-month supply of homes, which means we're going to have competition when we go out in the market. If we find a property that's priced right, it's going to go full price and it's going to go fast. Okay. Once I know these 4 pieces of information, the median sales price, is the median sales price up or down from last year? Where is it from 5 years ago? Because a lot of people are like, well, my house only went up 15 grand. Yeah, but it did that for 5 years. I'm not very good at math, but it's like 75 grand. What, $75,000 in 5 years, guys? That's a lot. Okay, so being able to tell the story of numbers and be able to tell the story of markets and the metrics helps you out immensely, because now you sound like an expert versus trying to manipulate somebody. Good? All right, I'm going to pause. I've got 5 minutes before I need to be on my next meeting, and I'm doing the intro for my next meeting. It's a big leadership, blah, blah, blah. They asked me to do an intro, so. Good?
Does anyone have any questions in this last 5 minutes?
Truly amazing.
Yeah,
I-
you're
I
amazing.
wanna
Every
comment.
time I hear you talk, I'm just energized. Love it.
Well, thank you for that. I
Carlene
do
asked if you
appreciate it.
have the recording for the Instagram class you did.
No. Actually, we don't. That is something that we don't put out. Typically, we don't send those out. Fun part is, as part of my role in my current job, is building a train the trainer program, and we're going to certify people to actually implement and train our materials.
Cool.
So with that said, there will be more access before the end of the year. The stuff that I'm building out for my current role as vice president of training is to get people certified to be able to teach our stuff in a manner that keeps its integrity intact. And then we can put it out to the market. That'll all get recorded, and then they'll be everywhere, right?
So
We're keeping it exclusive to EXP, because we throw the video out there, it will go everywhere. Every company in the town will have it. It'll be like, hey, look at Russ teaching how to do Instagram. They're like, why is that at the Keller Williams office on the big screen? So we're kind of keeping it in-house, so it's in-house within our brokerage. We love to collaborate, and we do share this stuff out, but we like to keep it in-house for a little bit. And then once we get most of our people that want to be on it done with it, then we'll be like, okay, we can open source it then. Once everybody's done watching the movie in the theaters, then we'll put it in Blockbuster. I mean, wait a minute.
You
That was
know,
a
I
pretty-
just, for
pretty in
people
pink joke.
here, this is recorded. You can get it on our YouTube channel if you want to rewatch. And I am going to take it and take pieces of it and review it in our team huddle. Because I think doing it's very specific to our area will be really useful. So maybe others here want to do that in their area as well.
Yeah, making it personal, guys. The thing right now is there's so much misinformation out there, and there's some really, really well-respected people that I know personally that I love, big name people, and they're out there being like, you guys gotta know, this market is like, dude, like, get outside of your head, get outside of your local market. Like, so, like, one of our guys, I'm like, you live in Southern Florida. Everything around you feels like carnage, and it is exact opposite in my market. And he's like, well, Russ, this is going on nationally. I'm like, no, it's not. Look around. Here's my stats for my market. And this is most of the Midwest, right? And by the way, the Northeast, I had a guy who's like, well, Russ, foreclosures are going through the roof. I'm like, dude, you guys are at less than a 2-month supply of homes in the Northeast currently. Your prices are still driving up. And by the way, 50% of the people in your market have over 50% equity in their house, and 20% of your people in your market in Northeast own their house free and clear, which means 70% of people in the Northeast either own the house free and clear or have 50+% equity. Let me ask you guys, does somebody get their house foreclosed on when they have $400,000 equity in their house? The answer is sometimes, if they're an idiot and they just ignore everything, it can happen, right? But that's not the norm. People are like, shoot, they're going to foreclose on my house. I've got $400,000 equity. I better sell this thing and cash the equity out now, pay off the bank and get out with money intact, right? So it is all over the nation doing unique things, and you got to really know what your market is, and you got to really know what is happening across the board. So the foreclosure market, I posted something on my social media. Yes, foreclosures have gone up. They're still not up to normal. So guys, let's be clear. This is a conversation. I saw somebody texting in there in the thing, and they're saying, yeah, foreclosures are going. Yes, foreclosures are going up. Absolutely. They went up 14% in the last year. And by the way, here's the deal. Here's me standing on the side of the river, right? And the river water's been down here for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? Normal river level is here. What has happened is the river level actually came up to here. If it gets to normal and then keeps soaring past, absolutely. But keep in mind, yes, some foreclosures are going up. Absolutely. There's some moratoriums and all the rest of that stuff. Absolutely. It's still going to keep, it would be normal for it to keep going up until it gets to normal. Once it gets to normal, then if it passes, there are some things that are going to make some of those pass. But again, across the nation, if you owned the house for the last 3, 4, 5 years, most of those people have a massive amount of equity, which means they have choices. So just know what's going on in your immediate market and don't worry about what other markets are doing. The other market having a massive foreclosure, South Florida is going to have foreclosures. Yes, absolutely. Is that number going to be high enough to affect the whole overall national numbers? Absolutely. Does that affect your local market? That's what I'm saying, guys. Be a local expert. So when somebody says that, it's like, yes, but that doesn't apply here because everybody in our market has 50% equity plus if they've had the house for more than 3 or 4 years, 5 years. Okay, so it's a matter of knowing your numbers. Okay. Anybody wants to debate me later on it? Let me know. All right, I gotta go, guys.
Thank you so much, Russ.
Thank you for the invite. Colby, thanks for making me come.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
See you guys.
Bye.